Abkhazia's leader Sergei Bagapsh is certain in April this year Georgia wanted to invade his republic.
We have infallible proof of Saakashvili's criminal intentions, which he wants to realize, to invade and occupy our republic.
This map, according to Abkhazian military intelligence, shows Tbilisi's plan in detail. Using NATO terminology, the map describes how the operation is supposed to be carried out. The towns of Gagra, Sukhumi and Achamchira are to be attacked from the sea, while Georgian special forces surround all the checkpoints of the Russian peacekeepers on the ground. Abkhazian officials say they acquired the map in April, but kept it secret to ensure they prevented an invasion. They claim the map's appearance, together with other reports, convinced Russia to increase its peacekeeping force in the region up to 2,500 by 500 troops, which is still less than the quota set by a peace agreement. Tbilisi denies the existence of any war plans.
Of course, it's all rubbish. Such statements shouldn't be discussed seriously. As for claims about Georgia having two fronts, it is a separatist plan. But this won't happen, and no threats, no conspiracy theories, no maps and their interpretations will stop us from following our main goal, the re-establishment and protection of our territorial integrity.
The problem of Georgia's breakaway territories is not new. In the 1920s, Joseph Stalin, who was born in Georgia, decided to merge his homeland with several regions that were previously autonomous republics of the Russian Empire. Nobody in the Soviet government openly questioned Stalin's authority at the time, but in the early 90s, after the fall of the USSR, the republics of Abkhazia and South Ossetia separated from Georgia. In response, Tbilisi sent troops and 2 wars were started within a year. The Georgian army met fierce resistance from ethnic Ossetians in Tskhinvali and Abkhazians in Sukhumi. In less than a year, Georgia had lost, but it never gave up its plans to regain control over the breakaway territories. Various politicians, including former Georgian President Zviad Gamsakhurdie, the country's current leader Mikhail Saakashvili, and his former ally, Defense Minister Irakli Okroshvili, often used promises to bring Abkhazia and South Ossetia under control. The UN and CIS peacekeeping missions in these 2 regions helped separate the warring sides. The situation in Abkhazia heated up again last week following 4 bomb blasts on 2 separate occasions. Explosives were detonated in the towns of Gagra and Sukhumi. More than a dozen people were injured. Abkhazia reacted immediately by closing its border with Georgia. The police say terrorism is the main lead in both cases, and officials in the breakaway province believe Georgia is to blame.
It happened before. Georgia already sent people to Abkhazia to make such terrorist acts, and by the way, one of these terrorists was blown by himself, and he lost two fists.
Tbilisi denies any involvement. Peaceful talks between the 2 sides came to a standstill 2 years ago. Each repeatedly blamed the other for violating peace agreements. Sukhumi claims Georgia is using provocation to scare off thousands of Russian tourists who holiday at local Black Sea resorts. Despite previous threats by President Saakashvili to shoot at every civilian ship heading from Russia to Abkhazia, a marine communication between Sochi and the Abkhazian town of Gagra was restored last week by a Russian company. Next, Abkhazia is planning to restore its own fleet of passenger ships to serve visitors. Despite recent incidents, Abkhazia's leaders are still hoping to attract as many tourists as possible, and no matter how serious the threats from Georgia may look, the authorities here promise to provide maximum security and ask Tbilisi to follow peaceful agreements. Denis Bolotski, RT, Sukhumi.